And now a rundown on some of our Friday morning headlines. A car slammed into Times Square pedestrians, killing a person, an 18-year-old woman, and injuring 22 other people. The official response is that it is not terrorism, that the driver had previously been arrested twice before for drunk driving, which, of course, makes you wonder, well, how do we know it's not terrorism? But any time that a person is killed, it should be treated as the tragedy it is, and not given more importance if it's terrorism or drunk driving or anything else. Our hearts go out to the family of the 18-year-old woman who was killed. The Kremlin is not saying anything about the prospects of what might happen to Russian-U.S. relations if Trump is impeached. The reason why that is being discussed is because it actually is being discussed in Congress right now. Meanwhile, Paul Ryan dressed down a reporter who asked him about, is it true that conservatives are gunning for a President Pence? He said it's not even worth a comment. However, it should be noted that a number of what you might call conservatives within the Republican Party are looking at the possibility of a President Pence being better than what they have now. Also, the latest FBI inquiry, President Trump calling it a greatest witch hunt in history. Banking leaders apparently may be the ones that were behind that global hacker attack. This is one of the news stories actually in Pravda, quoting an American economist, looking at who it was that got targeted. Primarily it's people who deal with Bitcoin and in some cases actual Bitcoin mines themselves. And it's being theorized right now that the NSA, who developed the Eternal Blue program that was used by these hackers, was actually in collusion with the banks. And this is all part of the plan, actually, to undermine cryptocurrencies and put people's faith back in the banks that handle fiat currency. An Israeli settler shot a Palestinian protester dead. This after a confrontation that happened near the little village of Nablus, where basically a car driving by was blocked by protesters. A conflict ensued. The person in the car pulled out a gun and shot one of the protesters dead. In case you missed it, of course, a couple of celebrity deaths this week. I normally don't deal with those here on this podcast because you'll get that in the mainstream media over and over and over and over again because they don't want you to talk about the other issues. For instance, the FCC has voted to dismantle net neutrality. Not sure how you feel about it, but critics are calling it open war on the open internet. And China has debuted a new military helicopter called the Black Hurricane. This thing is allegedly capable of destroying the world's most advanced and most powerful tanks. Princess Mako in Japan is going to be losing her royal status by marrying a commoner, and that will be my commentary today. Last story for you. Kim Jong-un says that the United States is a den of evils that should be wiped off the face of the earth as early as possible. Kind of sounds like what we're saying about him in North Korea, right? So just so you know, the rhetoric's not really winding down at all. It's actually continuing to ramp up. And on that cheery note, have a wonderful weekend. Make sure you check out my commentary and my Alaska News segment and support me on Patreon and all that other jazz. The website is radiofreespeech.com. I'd love to hear from you. Send me an email, steve@radiofreespeech.com. Thanks.